2:28 p.m. on August 28, 2003.
You definitely
a middle-aged pizza delivery.
Crap. Well, I don't think so.
What?
Because we had 17 seconds in.
Okay. Was you gonna cut the other part out?
Maybe. Alright, so what's up, guys? Beep Entertainment. Welcome back to another reaction. Now, today I have a special guest, my little sister.
Hi.
And today we could be reacting to 2 or 3 Money Heist horror stories animated. This is by I Am R Scary. So you're about to check out this reaction, guys. So without further ado, let's go and play.
At 2:28 p.m. on August 28, 2003, a middle-aged pizza delivery man named Brian Wells walked into a PNC bank in Erie, Pennsylvania. He had a short cane in his right hand and a strange bulge under the collar of his t-shirt.
You're not that much
Wells,
into the camera.
46 and balding, passed the teller a note. Gather employees with access codes to vault and work fast to fill the bag with $250,000, it said. You only have 15 minutes. Then he lifted his shirt to reveal a heavy box-like device dangling from his neck. According to the note, it was a bomb. The teller, who told Wells there was no way to get into the vault at that time, filled a bag with cash, $8,702, and handed it over. Wells walked out, sucking on a dum-dum lollipop he grabbed from the counter, hopped into his car, and drove off. He didn't get far. Some 15 minutes later, state troopers spotted Wells standing outside his Geo Metro in a nearby parking lot, surrounded him, and tossed him to the pavement, cuffing his hands behind his back. Wells told the troopers that while out on a delivery, he had been accosted by a group of black men who chained the bomb around his neck at gunpoint and forced him to rob the bank. It's gonna go off, he told them in desperation. I'm not lying. The officers called the bomb squad and took position behind their cars. Guns were drawn. For 25 minutes, Wells remained seated on the pavement, his legs curled beneath him. Did you call my boss? Wells asked the trooper at one point, apparently concerned that his employer would think he was shirking his duties. Suddenly, the device started to emit an accelerating beeping noise. Wells fidgeted. It looked like he was trying to scoot backwards to somehow escape the bomb strapped to his neck.
That ain't gonna work.
Beep, 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 boom. The device detonated, blasting him violently onto his back and ripping a 5-inch gash in his chest. The pizza delivery man took a few last gasps and died on the pavement.
Jesus.
It was 3:18 p.m. The bomb squad arrived 3 minutes later. The police began sorting through a trove of physical evidence. In Wells' car, they discovered the 2-foot-long cane, which turned out to be an ingeniously crafted homemade gun. The bomb itself was likewise a marvel of DIY design and construction. The device consisted of 2 parts: a triple-banded metal collar with 4 keyholes and a 3-digit combination lock, and an iron box containing 2 6-inch pipe bombs loaded with double-base smokeless powder. The hinged collar locked around Wells' neck like a giant handcuff. Investigators could tell that it had been built using professional tools. The device also contained 2 Sunbeam kitchen timers and 1 electric countdown timer. It had wires running through it that connected to nothing. The contraption was a puzzle in and of itself. The most perplexing and intriguing pieces of evidence, though, were the handwritten notes that investigators found inside Wells' car, addressed to the bomb hostage. The notes instructed Wells to rob the bank of $250,000. Then follow a set of complex instructions to find various keys and combination codes hidden throughout Erie. It contained drawings, threats, and detailed maps. If Wells did as he was told, the instructions promised he'd wind up with the keys and the combination required to free him from the bomb. Failure or disobedience would result in certain death. There is only one way you can survive, and that is to cooperate completely. The notes read in meticulous lettering that would later stymie handwriting analysis. This powerful booby-trapped bomb can be removed only by following our instructions. Act now, Think later, or you will die. It seemed that whoever planned the robbery had also constructed a nightmarish scavenger hunt for Wells, in which the prize was his life.
Niggas not cuss words.
It all started at 1:30 p.m. on the day of the robbery at Mamma Mia's Pizzeria, where Wells was working. An order came in for 2 small sausage and pepperoni pies to be delivered to a location on the outskirts of the city. Even though he was at the end of his shift, he agreed to deliver the order. He walked out of the shop, 2 pies in hand, at about 2 p.m. The delivery location, reachable only by a dirt road, was a TV transmission tower site in a wooded area off of busy Peach Street. Arriving at the location, Wells was accosted at gunpoint by strangers and forced to participate in a crazy bank robbery involving an even sicker scavenger hunt and some terrible consequences. The next day, a reporter and a photographer for the Erie Times News headed to the tower. The dirt road leading there was cordoned off by authorities, but the journalist spotted a tall, heavy-set man in denim Carhartt overalls pacing in front of a home that sat right next to it. His backyard extended almost to the transmission tower. The man identified himself as Bill Rothstein. Rothstein, 59, was an unmarried handyman and a lifelong resident of the area. He spoke elegantly, like someone who takes great pride in his mastery of the English language. Bill Rothstein may have appeared to be just a man who owned a house next to a TV tower, but he turned out to be hiding a dark secret. On September 20th, less than a month after the bomb killed Wells, Rothstein called 911. At 8645 Peach Street, in the garage, there is a frozen body. He told the police dispatcher, referring to his address. It's in the freezer. Within hours of making
this
the
music's
call,
so intense.
Rothstein was in custody. He told the cops that he had been in agony for weeks. He had considered killing himself, he told them,
first
and had
off,
gone so
this
far
is very dark so far. Second, the music is so intense. Whoever did the music deserve a raise. They really do. They deserve to get paid more. They put their foot into making this music. They really did. Anything you gotta say?
The music, as you said, it is very dramatic, and yeah, it's very dramatic. It's like something you would hear in the 1800s.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Which investigators found inside a desk at his home. Writing in black marker, Rothstein expressed his apologies to those who cared for or about me. Identified the body in his freezer as that of Jim Roden, and noted that he did not kill him nor participate in his death. The note opened with a curious disclaimer. This has nothing to do with the Wells case. Over the next 2 days, Rothstein explained to police how a dead man came to be in his freezer. In mid-August, he said he received a phone call from his ex-girlfriend, Marjorie Deal Armstrong.
Why she look like that? Oh.
Where her eyebrows at?
Who he had dated in the 1960s
Hold up, this is based off of
early 1970s. Deal Armstrong told him that she had shot her live-in boyfriend.
This is based off a true story.
You ain't know that?
Yeah, I just know I want you to know that.
Oh. I totally do that.
She done shot her boyfriend.
And they got evidence, everything. Mugshots.
James Roden in the back with a Remington 12-gauge shotgun.
Wait,
in a
so the guy really
over
got
money.
his face blown off?
Now she needed help removing the body and cleaning up the scene inside her Erie home, about 10 miles from Rothstein's place. Rothstein did what she asked. He kept the corpse in a chest freezer in his garage for 5 weeks. He painstakingly melted down the murder weapon and scattered the pieces around Erie County. But Rothstein said he couldn't go through with the plan to grind up the body, and he called 911 because he was afraid of what Dale Armstrong might do to him. On September 21st, the day after Rothstein called 911, Dale Armstrong was arrested for the murder of Rodden. 16 months later, in January 2005, she pleaded guilty but was mentally ill and was sentenced to 7 to 20 years in state prison. Later, she admitted that she knew about it, that she had supplied the kitchen timers that were used in the bomb, and that she was within a mile of the bank at the time of the robbery. She also said that Wells, the dead pizza delivery guy, was not just a victim, but had been in on the plan. And so was Rothstein, the man who turned her in for Rodden's murder. She asserted he had masterminded the whole thing. But even as Dale Armstrong pointed the finger at Rothstein, she was implicating herself. Investigators had begun to suspect that Dale Armstrong was behind the collar bomb plot. Then, in late 2005, a witness came forward to say an ex-television repairman turned crack dealer named Kenneth Barnes was also involved.
A little bit pedophile. Yeah, I'm gonna
get you.
Fishing buddy of Dale Armstrong
I'm gonna get you.
had spoken too freely about the plan, and his brother-in-law had turned him in while Barnes was already in jail on unrelated drug charges, threatened with even more time behind bars. Barnes confirmed the Fed's belief that Dale Armstrong was the mastermind behind the collar bomb plot. He claimed she needed the cash so that she could pay him to kill her father, who she believed was blowing through his fortune. Dale Armstrong and Barnes were charged with carrying out the sensational crime, a plot that Dale Armstrong had put into motion, and Wells, the purported victim, was another. Pulling together information, culled from more than 1,000 interviews over almost 4 years, the indictment charged that Wells was in on the scheme from the beginning. He had agreed to rob the bank wearing what he thought was a fake bomb. The scavenger hunt, he was told, was simply a ruse to fool the cops. If he got caught, he could point to the menacing instructions as evidence that he was merely following orders. But over time, Buchanan said Wells went from being a planner to an unwilling participant. At some point, instead of merely playing the part of a hostage, Wells was double-crossed and became one. The fake bomb turned out to be a real one, and the scavenger hunt went from a clever piece of misdirection to a real-life race against the clock. Barnes pleaded guilty in September 2008 to the conspiracy and weapons charges involved in the collar bomb plot. He was sentenced to 45 years behind bars, but he agreed to testify against Dale Armstrong in the hope of getting his sentence reduced. So was it a murder covered up by a heist, or a heist to overlook some murders? No one will get the exact answers. And that's what makes this incident one of the most chilling money heists in the world of true crime.
Why you come up like that?
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If so, please leave a like. And also, a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you want to support this channel and make this channel reach the 1 million mark,
do the same thing
please
for me.
Consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later.
Story
Enjoy.
2.
It's more.
The Antwerp
Told you
diamond
3.
heist, dubbed
Three.
the heist of the century,
Bro.
was the largest
Let me
diamond
see.
heist of all time. Since then, the heist was classified to be one of the largest robberies in history. Thieves stole loose diamonds, gold, silver, and other types of jewelry valued at more than $100 million. It took place in Antwerp, Belgium, during the weekend of the 15th and 16th February 2003. Though arrests were made and time was served, most of the diamonds stolen remain unrecovered. The vault that housed the diamonds is situated 2 floors below the main floor. It was protected by multiple security mechanisms, including a lock with 100 million possible combinations.
100
The building
million?
itself had a
Nice.
private security force and was located in the heavily guarded and monitored Antwerp Diamond District. The theft was carried out by a 5-man team, led by Leonardo, a professional thief who was skilled in social manipulation. Leonardo had rented space in the Diamond District and was arrested after being connected to the crime by DNA evidence from a partially eaten salami sandwich found near the crime scene. In addition to Leonardo, the team consisted of at least 4 other members whom Leonardo gave aliases during interviews, though he refused to specify whom each alias referred to. Speedy, described as an anxious and
It's like
paranoid
my
man.
sister.
He was a longtime friend of Leonardo
Speedy,
and was the one
while driving.
responsible for scattering the rubbish in the woods. Most likely the alias of Pietro Tavano. The monster, described as a tall, muscular man. He was an expert lockpicker, electrician, mechanic, and driver, and was very strong. Most likely the alias of Ferdinando Finotti. The genius, a specialist in alarm systems. most likely the alias of Simon, an electronics expert known to be linked to a series of robberies. The King of Keys, an older man, he was described as one of the best key forgers in the world. His true identity is unknown, and he remains the only member of the crew to escape apprehension by the police. The group conducted detailed surveillance of the Diamond Center, using camera pens to take pictures of the center and the vault covertly. Leonardo's frequent visits, under the guise of being a diamond merchant, caused security to become used to his presence, and thus lax. A small camera was hidden above the vault door by the group, being difficult to see when the ceiling lights were on. It would observe guards opening the door and record the combination he used. It would then broadcast its data to a sensor, which the group had hidden inside an ordinary-looking red fire extinguisher in a nearby storage room in the center. The extinguisher was fully functional, but had a watertight chamber hidden inside it, which housed electronics to receive the camera's data. The group allegedly practiced with a full-scale replica of the vault. Leonardo claims this was produced with help from a diamond trader insider. The day before the robbery, Leonardo visited the vault, posing as a routine visit. While inside, he quickly sprayed women's hairspray on the thermal motion sensors, having practiced the necessary motion for a swift spray, as the oil from the product was transparent but would temporarily insulate the sensor from thermal fluctuations in the room. And the sensor would only go off if it detected both heat and emotion. This would last many hours, but not forever, and the group used it as a temporary measure until they could properly disable the sensor system. While the security camera recorded his actions, the guard was used to his visits and was not paying attention. Leonardo remained in a nearby getaway vehicle during the robbery.
Your one big mistake. You always gotta pay attention to each and every last single detail. It don't matter who it is, even if it's Jesus Christ himself. You better pay attention. Like about pay the price.
Listening to a police scanner and prepared to leave as soon as the group was done. The team wore plastic gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints. To avoid a large number of security cameras in the area around the bank, the King of Keys picked the lock to an abandoned office building that adjoined the Diamond Center, as it shared a private garden with the Diamond Center that wasn't under video surveillance. The garden allowed access to a small balcony in the center, which the group accessed via a ladder. An infrared sensor monitored the terrace, but the genius used a large homemade polyester shield to hide his thermal signature as he approached the sensor and placed the shield in front of it, preventing it from detecting the group. He then disabled an alarm on the balcony's windows. Security cameras in the antechamber were covered with black plastic.
I ain't gonna hold you.
They on a mission.
Yes. For real.
The things people do for money, bro.
Exactly. Just like the Gorilla Glue hair girl.
Yeah, like, if you already messed up your hair with Gorilla Glue, why would you try to dye it?
It's like, bro, at this point, her hair needs a restraining order.
Got a big forehead. You see that, Joe? Don't cry.
Bags to allow the group to turn on the lights. The vault door had a magnetic lock on it that consisted of two plates. When on, they would trigger a magnetic field, and when the door opened, the field would break, triggering an alarm. The genius overcame this by using a custom-made aluminum plate, to which he attached heavy-duty double-sided tape to one side of it.
Otherwise,
he then stuck it on two bolts and unscrewed them.
Not only
while they were loose from the proper
audio will be in the video, but the phone audio will be on the webcam. So it would like record two different audios. That'd be a bad joint.
They were still side by side and generating a magnetic field. They were pivoted out of the way and taped to the antechamber wall. The King of Keys had used video footage to successfully duplicate the almost impossible to duplicate foot-long vault key. However, during the robbery, he knew that the guards often visited the utility room just before opening the door and decided to investigate. Inside the unlocked room, he found the vault key, He decided to steal the original key,
He got the part
as it
I
would
wanted,
ensure
yeah.
the vault's manufacturers did not
guess.
realize the key could be duplicated.
Thanks.
And indeed, it was not until Leonardo revealed this occurred
Let me
that the
see
police would know a duplicate had been created. The group turned off the antechamber lights before opening the vault door to avoid tripping light sensors in the vault. After the King of Keys,
You probably gonna mess with the recording. Hold up. Gotta pause at the same time. Or at least try to pause. Alright, so I'm gonna try to finish this up real quick. This will be the last story. I ain't gonna react to the third one. So let's get into it.
picked the lock to the internal gate. The monster, working in darkness, moved to the middle of the room, having practiced the number of steps in the replica, reached up to the ceiling and pushed back a panel, locating the security system's inbound and outbound wires. An electric pulse shot along the wires, and if any sensor was tripped or broken, the circuit would break and trigger the alarm. To overcome this, the monster carefully stripped the wire's plastic coating and attached a piece of new wire to the exposed copper wire, rerouting the circuit and ensuring that it was irrelevant if the sensors were tripped. Heat sensors were blinded with styrofoam boxes and light sensors with tape. The men worked in darkness, having memorized the layout of the vault. They would occasionally flick on their lights for a brief moment to position their drill over the lock boxes. The King of Keys used a hand-cranked drill to break the locks on each of the security boxes. The contents were then emptied into duffel bags. After 5:30 a.m., they finished and left, returning to the office building, a process which took almost an hour due to the need for caution. They then put the bags in Leonardo's car, which then drove to the apartment while the men headed there on foot. Posed as an Italian diamond merchant to gain credibility, the robbery required 18 months of preparation. The group used a variety of ingenious methods to overcome the security systems and left investigators confused as to how they managed to successfully gain entry without triggering the security systems. The group was caught after Leonardo and Speedy went to dispose of the evidence of their plans, planning to burn it in France. Speedy was overcome with panic at the prospect of transporting such incriminating evidence and insisted they dispose of it in a nearby forest. However, Speedy suffered a panic attack and disposed of the evidence poorly, hurling it into the bushes and mud rather than burning it. Leonardo was busy burning his evidence, and when he discovered what Speedy had done, he decided it would take too long to gather everything up, and they needed to leave, confident that nobody would find their rubbish. However, a local hunter owned the land and called the police when he found the rubbish the next day, believing it to be caused by local teenagers he had previously had disputes with. When he mentioned that some of the rubbish consisted of envelopes from the Antwerp Diamond Center, the police immediately investigated. The evidence from the rubbish was enough to allow the police to gain a lead, and they were eventually able to identify Leonardo from security footage from a nearby grocery store where he had purchased a sandwich. A receipt for the sandwich was amongst the rubbish. After the robbery, Leonardo and his team stole the security footage to conceal their identities. More than 123 out of 160 safe deposit boxes were forced open, each of which was made of steel and copper and had both a key lock and combination lock. Leonardo was found guilty of orchestrating the heist. He is considered to be the leader of a ring of Italian thieves called La Scuola di Torino, the School of Turin, who carried out the crime. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison by the Court of Appeal of Antwerp in 2005, but had since been released on parole in 2009. In 2011, a European arrest warrant was issued against him after he was found to have violated his parole conditions. One of these conditions was that he needed to compensate the victims of the heist, which he never made any attempt at. As a consequence, he was arrested again in 2013 at the Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris during a layover from the United States to Turin, and was made to serve the remainder of his prison sentence until 2017.
Alright, I got it in here, guys.
1970.
That was just plain messed up, bro. Like, these people, they be on a mission. People do anything for clout. People do anything for money. It is just sad. Real sad. But that's the world we live in. Am I right, guys? Hold up. Let me see something. Come on. Alright, so hope you guys do the video. If y'all did, make sure you punch the like button in the face like a boss. Peace out.